once again, the Chilean coast delivers. Pristine roads, stunning views, and no one around. Just wow. In this episode, I bid adios to the desert for the last time as I launch into a 1400km odyssey southward, taking in Chile's epic Central Pacific coast and a well-earned detour into the Elqui Valley wine region. Day 55 and the journey insists on a little deja vu, courtesy of a necessary retreat to outflank a stretch of coastal mountains which seem to take impassability as a point of pride. So it's back the way I came, a reluctant reunion with La Negra before the highway finally bends southward where inevitably the desert is waiting, patient as ever. The immaculate highway slices through the boundless Atacaman expanse, a thread of asphalt stretched across a landscape that seems to have forgotten time. Ahead, the road coils into a corkscrew descent, unravelling towards the sea and the tucked-away enclave of El Cobra, so small it could probably pass as a mirage. At first, I'm caught off guard by what seems like an early glimpse of the sea, until it dawns on me that the vast shimmer ahead is cloud, not water. But this landscape is a master of deception. Still perched at 1700 metres, I take the hint and pull over. Some views are worth a pause, if only to let the mind catch up with the eyes. From the Mirador, the descent begins, all 1700 metres of altitude unravelled in just 10 kilometres as the crow flies, although the road itself offers a rather more twisty route to deliver me back to sea level. There's not a town in sight along this stretch of coast, so the existence of a brand new road is something of a mystery. But I'm not about to question good fortune, especially when it comes packaged as a flawless ribbon of asphalt and a ride this sublime. Eventually, I drop to sea level and the Pacific emerges from the haze, deep blue, unwavering, as if it's been waiting all along. The contrast with the stark coastal mountains is almost surreal. Sun and shadow trade places overhead, but no matter the light, the ride is pure spectacle. Having seen no sign of life since leaving the main highway, I'm mildly startled to spot this lone figure strolling down the empty road, as if out for a casual wander through the middle of nowhere. He seems friendly enough, but his origin and destination remain an enigma, like a character who's wandered in from the wrong story and is just too polite to mention it.
But we've got each other to pull us through.
Sadly, the sunshine makes only a fleeting appearance before the coast slips back into its usual Pacific murk, a grey brooding presence I'm beginning to think of as the region's default setting. But no matter, the ride remains as exhilarating as ever, undimmed by a little atmospheric moodiness.
Then it all comes back to you, and I know you're scared, and I am too.
Soon enough, the gloom peels away like a bad idea reconsidered, and I emerge into the sunshine just in time to witness the latest chapter in the eternal saga of dodgy overtaking. An art form practiced here with the kind of confidence that suggests either supreme skill or a total misunderstanding of physics. The sun stays loyal as I roll into the small resort town of Taltal, a place currently enjoying the kind of off-season lull that makes a ghost town look lively. It's only spring, so I expect the streets to be deserted and the atmosphere to hum with the quiet resignation of businesses waiting for better days. Still, it seems a decent enough spot to call it a day. And boy was I wrong. Hotel Beatrice wasn't the worst, a bit overpriced for what it was, but tolerable. The town itself, however, was so lifeless it made a dodo look like a party animal. Off-season in Taltal isn't just quiet, it's the kind of silence that suggests even the tumbleweeds have moved on. So it's with little regret that I slip into the morning gloom and put the place behind me. Leaving the coast behind for a stretch, I'm granted a rare meteorological kindness. The sky clears just in time for my ride through the stark, almost otherworldly emptiness of the Parque Nacional Pandeazucar, or Sugarloaf National Park for those who prefer their poetry translated. This is my final taste of the Atacama on this journey, the last chance to drink in its eerie sun-blasted grandeur before it slips into memory. I make sure to savour every moment.
I'll eclipse you. We are the luminous ones of forever, my friends. Well, don't you worry about the times to follow. I'll carry you where the morning has no end. We are the luminous reflection of the sun that's soon to come. You see it rise and it falls. It bleeds red as it's gazing back at us. Soon the moon will be blood red above our heads. Then the sun will rise and save her with a kiss on our forehead.
Rolling into the small town of Janural, I find myself reunited with the coast, the Pacific stretching out like an old acquaintance I haven't seen for a while. From here, it's more or less a straight shot down the highway to Bahiainglesa, or English Bay for those keeping score in translation, where I've decided to take it easy and keep the day mercifully short.
Gotta steal away, disappear into the growing air, get lost in outer
ride along the seaside volcanic landscape is a good one, moody, atmospheric, and wrapped in the kind of mist that makes everything look like the opening scene of a noir film. But before I roll into Bahiainglesa, there's one peculiar stop I want to make, the zoologicodepiedra, or Stone Zoo, an attraction as odd as its name suggests. The zoologicodepiedra is less of a zoo and more of a geological curiosity, a field of granite rocks pockmarked by trophoni, those strange perforation-like cavities sculpted over time by salt, wind and water working their way into the stone's finest fractures. Some of these weathered shapes supposedly resemble animals, which explains the name, while others have been turned into makeshift shrines. Either way, they stand in surreal contrast to the stark, unadorned landscape around them. Unfortunately, the more intriguing rock formations demand a bit of a hike, an endeavour my full-height motorcycle boots are in no mood for, with the sky still stuck on its dullest setting and no dramatic light to make the detour worthwhile. I decide to cut my losses and press on. It's a short ride to Bahiainglesa, and at this point, that sounds like a much better option. Day 57 dawns under yet another murky sky, as if the weather is determined to set a mood. Today's agenda is a solid stretch of highway riding to the city of Serena, a route that will pull me inland for a while. But with any luck, the usual pattern will hold. The moment I leave the ocean behind, the gloom will lift and the sun will remember its job. My highway zen is abruptly shattered by the scene unfolding ahead, the aftermath of what looks like yet another ill-advised overtaking manoeuvre meeting its inevitable conclusion. I've seen plenty of risky passes on these roads, but this one seems to have ended exactly as physics would have predicted. Still mulling over the scene, I catch sight of an unusual shrine and feel compelled to pull over. I've seen plenty of roadside shrines on the trip, but this one is something else. A dazzling excess of water bottles, arranged with the kind of care that suggests either deep reverence or a surplus of free time. As for its meaning, not a clue, but if devotion can be measured in plastic, someone here has reached sainthood. Pressing on, I'm finally granted clemency by the weather gods, who, after much deliberation, decide to roll back the gloom and unveil a sky so blue it seems almost contrite. And the landscape follows suit, shedding its barren indifference to reveal the first hesitant scatterings of vegetation I've seen in a while, proof that even the most reluctant terrain can muster a little enthusiasm. Long, I roll into La Serena after another relatively short day on the road. With a population north of 200,000, it promises a touch more vitality than the drowsy seaside hamlets of Taltal and Bahiainglesa. Day 58 and it's time for a scenic detour inland into the picture-perfect Bahia Delki. Here, the fertile banks of the Rio Elqui defy the surrounding arid vastness, nourishing Chile's northernmost wine region, where the reds are rich, the whites crisp, and the pisco flows in quantities that suggest someone, somewhere, is having a very good time. But before turning inland, I seized the chance to take in Serena's coastline, especially since, for the first time in what feels like an age, the morning isn't wrapped in a stubborn shroud of murk, a rare gift and not one to be squandered. Despite the sunshine, the spring air still carries enough of a chill to keep the beachgoers at bay, so after a quick look, just enough to say I was here, I looped back through town and set my course east toward the promise of the Elqui Valley. It doesn't take long to leave Serena behind, and soon the vista unfurls before me. My expertise in wine is mostly at the drinking end of the spectrum, but I'm told the mix of chalky soil, arid conditions, and a cool Pacific breeze makes for prime grape growing territory. And judging by the sheer enthusiasm for vineyards around here, plenty of people are banking on it. Today's destination is the charming town of Vicuña, which I'm told has a touch of frontier feel about it. But before calling it a day, there's another recommendation to investigate. Cerveza Villa Guanican, a local microbrewery with a reputation for top-notch beer and burgers to match. And since it's nudging lunchtime, stopping in feels less like an indulgence and more like good timing. On the bike means a deep dive into the beer menu is off limits, but a single pint paired with a seriously good burger proves more than enough to make the stop worthwhile. Seizing the moment before the inevitable food coma sets in, I set off on a short ride back through the valley to Vicuña. It seems like the kind of place worth lingering in, so I'm planning to stay an extra day, partly to soak up the atmosphere, partly to finally tackle a few tasks I've been expertly avoiding. Day 60 dawns with the same extravagant blue sky, as if the weather itself has taken a shine to me. Gracias, adios. The journey ahead, however, is less dazzling, one of those transit days where the road stretches on in dutiful obedience, offering little more than the satisfaction of progress. No grand vistas, no postcard moments, just the steady hum of the wheels and the quiet thrill of actually getting somewhere.
It's been a long, long time since I told myself the truth. Sometimes I find myself talking in the car to you. I miss the sounds of the city and Sugarloaf Mountain too. I miss the days in the morning driving to work with you. I was black and blue. On a hill in Old Mount Pleasant, drinking in the afternoon. All the nights on 14th Street with nothing better to do. I rode my bike through a hurricane and I kept on.
Closing in on La Serena and the coast, the weather remembers its usual morning routine and slips back into character, muted, indifferent, as if rehearsing a role it knows all too well.
So much rain. There was so
A swift loop back through town, and I'm soon threading onto the main highway, pointing south with purpose. Ahead lies a steady 340 odd k's to Quilimari, enough road to settle in, find a rhythm, and let the journey unfold in its own unhurried way. The morning gloom lifts just in time to reveal a stroke of practical genius, an elegantly simple solution for keeping cargo cool on the move, proving once again that necessity, or an accident, is the mother of invention, even on the open road.
way down there in your heart, it grows, it's getting loud. Take everything
As the weather dithers between moods, a splash of roadside flowers catches my eye, a quiet but undeniable announcement that the desert is now firmly in the rearview mirror.
on your blind side, hammer in his hand. Stand back up and give a damn. Hitting back hard 'cause I know.
My highway exit appears soon enough, though not without a minor logistical flourish, a brief backtrack and a cheeky U-turn, the kind that feels almost conspiratorial, to deposit me neatly at my hotel on the far side of the road.
Find myself. Sometimes I find myself. Sometimes I can't find myself. Sometimes I find.
With the transit day neatly filed away, tomorrow promises a return to more engaging terrain, heading inland with the Andes once again waiting in the wings, ready to lift the road into something altogether more dramatic.
I can't find myself.
Tolls. Modifications. Mountains. Hairpins. Trees. Waterfalls. Secure parking. And volcanoes.